Good morning and thank you for joining the Apple at Work webinar. My name is Cooper Wern and I happen to be the New South Wales Commercial Sales Manager at CompNow. Today, we're going to be talking about why businesses are deploying Mac into the enterprise and how you and your business can bring Apple at Work to life. Okay, so what are we talking about today? We're going to begin with why businesses are investing in supporting Apple technology and increasingly seeking to offer choice to their end users in the enterprise. We're then going to move over to two demos. The first demo showing what the actual end user experience looks like through a modern deployment workflow. Lastly, I'm going to close out with how your organization can get ready for and implement a fully realized Apple at Work strategy. So let's get started. Apple is in the very fabric of our DNA. Now, we have a history that goes back 30 years to where we actually started as a single Apple retailer in a leafy suburb of Melbourne. Now, as we've grown over the years, so has our expertise, our capabilities, and our offerings around the Apple ecosystem. Today, we're a national business. We have approaching 300 staff around the country and the single largest team of fully certified Apple sales and engineering staff. Now, throughout our history, Apple has very much remained true to our heart and core to our identity. We're the first Apple authorized enterprise reseller, designation AAER, you'll hear a couple times today. We're the premier Jamf and VMware Workspace ONE partners in market. These are the two MDM platforms which we view as the gold standard in Australia. And as an end user compute provider, we offer a comprehensive device lifecycle management portfolio of services, all the way from procurement through to managed service and end of lifecycle options. So as I touched on, we're a national business. We have presence across the country, locations in Sydney, Melbourne, Brisbane, Adelaide and Perth. When I talk about presence, I'm talking around warehousing, engineering and service centre infrastructure, as well as actual engineering expertise when it comes to people and manpower. Now, this is true of each state, meaning we can scale as you do and we can offer the same experience to you or one of your end users in Perth as we say can, for example, in Sydney or Melbourne. So AAER, I touched on this earlier. This is something we're really proud of, and perhaps it's just the credential that we're most proud of as a business. This designation comes by virtue of our end-to-end set of capabilities across the Apple ecosystem. It also means that we're more than just a reseller. We're a strategic partner of Apple's, and they are our vendor of which we're most strategically aligned in our business. In fact, all elements of our business, almost all 300 staff are involved in bringing Apple at Work to life in some capacity. As I spoke about, we offer our customers with a full suite of Apple-related services. Now, I cannot stress this point enough, but this is so much more than hardware procurement and finance. It includes deployment professional services, MDM expertise, remote on-site support, buyback, training, app development portals, the list goes on. And to that end, and as part of our overarching Apple pedigree, we're a prominent member of the Apple Consultants Network and an Apple authorized training and service provider. So now I'm going to move over to Apple at Work and get stuck in. So Apple at Work, well, what's this all about? This at its core is about enabling users and the enterprise itself by giving users access to the tools with which they do their best work. And this next point is really important. And research tells us that 7 out of 10 users, when given the choice, would prefer to use a Mac over a PC. And that on average, those Mac users are 22% more productive on a Mac. This is massive, right? So by giving a user's choice, you're able to realize enhanced productivity and a far more engaged workforce. And it's more than just that too. Employee choice is a powerful tool which many businesses use to attract and retain talent. Every business owner, every business leader will talk to you about the ongoing battle for talent, how it's one of the more costly and time-consuming exercises that every business always needs to think about. And employee choice is a differentiator. It's a string for your bow that allows you to be different to the competition and do so for a relatively low cost. And guess what? It's entirely possible to deliver choice and provide all the benefits of providing your users with choice and doing so in a way in which is cohesive, it's compliant, and it actually even complements your existing ICT environment. So what do I actually mean by this? Well, I'm talking about having three things in balance here. I'm talking about giving users, firstly, an authentic Mac experience where using a Mac actually feels like using a Mac. We're talking about enabling your Mac users with access to all the relevant corporate applications, databases for their role type, as well as equal access to the network, printer, VPN, anything that a corporate citizen would expect in a modern enterprise. And lastly, I'm talking about achieving these objectives without compromising the integrity of your ICT environment. We all know in this day and age, security is as important as it ever has been, and certainly Apple at Work's no different. So to illustrate this point, I'm going to pivot to a case study, and this is for the REA Group, or Real Estate Australia as you'll know them today. Now this is a customer we've worked really closely with to implement a bona fide employee choice model with. So through CompNow, REA has access to a user-facing CYOD portal, that's Choose Your Own Device portal. This portal guides users through the process where they can select and choose their own device, whether it be a Mac or a PC. Now purchases through our portal automatically trigger device enrollment workflows. And because we hold stock for REA, it basically means that as soon as we receive an order, devices are prepped immediately and sent to the end user exactly where the end user wants them. Now, beyond being a cool and slick solution that showcases our supply chain, most importantly, this process is super low touch for REA's IT team. We're CompNow, work in the background, and we handle all the complexity. So we've been able to deliver cost savings, we've been able to free up the valuable time of REA's IT team, and through employee choice, we've been able to enable a more productive and a more engaged workforce. It's a really cool case study and one we're really proud of. So as every single person in an IT role on the other end of that camera there will tell you, at the foundation of enabling Mac in the enterprise is MDM infrastructure and modern deployment workflows. Now the reality is that every enterprise is different. Each customer we speak to has a different set of requirements, whether it be for the user group, policy, management, perhaps even business outcomes themselves. Now, we're vendor agnostic in our approach. We're a partner credentialed with all the big boys, and our job is to help our customers identify and architect the right solution for your environment. And the modern enterprise, the reality here is that Microsoft plays a big role. Microsoft-based architecture is the cornerstone for so many businesses, and Apple at Work is really no different here. In fact, the vast majority of our Mac deployments to this day leverage Active Directory or Azure when it comes to identity management or authentication workflows. I think the salient point here is that CompNow, we have the capabilities and credentials around the Microsoft stack, the same as we do around the Apple stack. So we can really be that bridge in your business and be the organization that brings those two spheres together. So modern deployment. Delivering a seamless end user experience where devices just work out of the box, or at least appear to as far as the end user is concerned, this is the ultimate objective. This is the gold standard, and we talked to an IT manager, this is exactly what they're striving towards when it comes to MDM. Now, facilitating true zero-touch deployments, these are now as relevant as they ever have been, with most organizations working remotely, which means, of course, onboarding new employees remotely, as well as any refreshes of legacy devices for existing staff. If you think about it, in this day and age, a user's PC really is their office, right? In the current environment. It's the primary interface, and in some cases, it's the only interface between the user and the PC. This means it's got to work. It's got to be seamless, and for the non-tech savvy people in your organization, of which there's always going to be a fair chunk of them, it must be simple and intuitive. So through Apple Business Manager and through the right MDM setup, device enrollment really can be fully automated. And for those of you who don't believe me, we're going to show you exactly what this workflow looks like from the user's perspective right now. Okay, so what you're watching on the screen in front of you is a sped up video. And what you're going to see in the next 2 minutes takes roughly 4 minutes in reality. So imagine a new user goes to the door, picks up their device, turns it on. First thing the user does is they're going to jump onto the Wi-Fi network. Now this can be whatever Wi-Fi network they want, including their home Wi-Fi. What you're going to now see is Apple remote management tools come through as the device is automatically enrolled into the MDM. We're now going to see authentication workflows happening via entry of corporate credentials. Now I should point out this could include Active Directory, could include Azure, could include any nominated identity management tool out there in the market that you may use, like Okta or Cisco ISE, whatever it may be. We're now going to have a look at the end user logging into the device, and what you're going to see is the MDM kicking into gear. It's coming to life, it's deploying device settings, it's deploying applications, all that good stuff. Anything that the organization has defined for that specific user is being pushed out to the device and installed. Lastly, and at the end of this process, what you're about to see is a final prompt for credentials, whereby the device will automatically be rebooted with file vault and industry best practice encryption standards set up on the device. It's really that simple. This is exactly what the workflow can look like from an end user's perspective. This is the out-of-the-box experience, and this is what CompNow can help you facilitate in your enterprise today. Okay, so we've talked to you about the why, and now I'm going to move into how CompNow can assist your business in bringing Apple at Work to life. Now, deploying Apple devices at scale introduces a pretty broad range of considerations beyond just procurement, how you're going to buy the device. What I'm talking about here is how is your enterprise going to deploy the device? What about ongoing management in terms of MDM, but also beyond? What about support in terms of hardware and the end user? And at the end of the life cycle, how are you going to dispose of the assets? Now, the answers to these questions will ultimately roll up into a consideration set that's going to inform your end user compute strategy. And this is our bread and butter. This is where we come to the fore, where we shine. We're a specialist end user compute provider with that national presence and ability to scale that I spoke about. So as I touched on, we offer a full range of device lifecycle management services. Now, this encompasses, of course, the initial procurement, but the staging deployment, the ongoing support, device management, and all the end of lifecycle options you may want to consider. We can work with you to put this into whatever commercial model you like. If you prefer to purchase via a CapEx model, great. Alternatively, if finance is the way to go, we've got you there as well through a tailored finance program, which could be based on either a rental, a lease, or a device as a service model. Now, I really want to stress this point. Our services here are available as required, meaning that you can lean on us exactly as much or exactly as little as you want. We'll be guided with what your requirements are. So we touched on employee choice earlier, but we also offer employee choice portal, and we offer these portals available on demand and free of charge. Now, our user-facing CYOD portals, that is, choose your own device portals, guide a user through that choice process. We can also tailor these. They're highly customizable. We can include things like user authentication workflows at the beginning of the process to make sure the right user is accessing the portal. Choose any number of devices and accessories. We are a platinum partner with all the big Windows OEM brands, so we've got you there too. We can capture whatever home delivery options and logistic workflows that need to be thought about. Perhaps most importantly, we can integrate our backend into your MDM, meaning that the moment a user confirms their order, it automatically kicks off and commences device enrollment workflows. Now, the salient point here is that we manage all the complexities in the background on your behalf. And as far as you and your users are concerned, they're accessing a really clean, simple, and elegant interface. I also touched on our MDM expertise earlier in terms of partners and platforms that we work with. But I'd be remiss if I didn't point out that CompNow is the first Apple reseller in Australia to offer device enrollment directly through Apple Business Manager. Now, in practice, what this actually means is that any Apple device purchased through CompNow will automatically be enrolled into your chosen MDM platform, provided you give us your Apple customer number at the point of purchase. It really is that simple. It's a one-step process for us where, again, we take away all the complexity, all the double handling of data, and ultimately provide a faster time frame in terms of getting the devices into the hands of your end users. So I'm going to pivot a little bit here and now move on to some of the professional services that we offer to help bring Apple at Work to life. The first one I'm going to talk about here is our modern deployment reviews. Now, this is all about giving our customers a crystal clear understanding of what their full set of requirements are in order to help you guide you on the path towards a fully fledged Apple at Work grade deployment. Now, as part of our service, we'll get boots on the ground. We're going to dispatch engineers on site. They're going to get under the hood and provide, or rather, conduct a comprehensive audit of your environment to identify these requirements. Well, they're going to go away. We're going to build out a recommendation which will give you the blueprint in order to help you guide you down the path of how to get you from your current state to your desired future state. And the deployment review is going to inform the proof of concept. And of course, this is about executing the recommendations in that review. But I want to stress this point. CompNow, we will deliver a full production grade proof of concept, not a flimsy test in an environment that's going to fall apart the moment it's taken out of the sandbox. And at completion, we'll assist in deploying that proof of concept at scale to the remainder of your fleet. This is where we can provide whatever training services are required, or perhaps even an ongoing managed service. Now, I do need to point out these projects can be complex, and the larger your enterprise, the reality is it's going to impact a wide range of stakeholders. Now, we've been doing this for decades, and best practice tells us that the surest way to deliver the best possible outcome is to address the needs and the concerns of all stakeholders at the beginning of the process to ensure we're on the same page and we're capturing all requirements up front. We want to avoid a scenario where 2 to 3 weeks into a project and we realize, you know what, we probably should have spoken to the network manager around opening up ports on the Wi-Fi network. Now, we don't shy away either from highlighting where an organization needs to think differently and needs to take a different approach to their traditional way of delivering IT. This is a really important point. Apple at Work is going to deliver the best benefits to your organization when we're able to facilitate a truly authentic Apple experience for your Mac users. We don't consider a proof of concept to be a success unless we can get to that outcome. Now, rounding out our range of professional service offerings is our training and our professional learning program. Now, although even of our existing customers don't actually realise we have a dedicated training business unit, we actually employ a national team of exclusively ex-teachers around the country. They can provide end-user training across a range of technology like productivity applications such as M365 that Steve just walked us through, train-the-trainer style programs, or even professional learning certifications. Again, key point here is that these training services are fully customizable, and we can put it in the format that's going to provide the best benefit to your users. So to help wrap us up, I'm going to touch and finish on two final case studies. Two very different case studies that articulate different elements of the Apple at Work story. The first is Victoria Police, now where we've really illustrates deployment and support done at mass scale. Now, CompNow really work really closely with Vic Police. We manage around 13,000 different Apple devices across the state. And this is Victoria Police, right? So when I talk about the state, I really do mean everywhere there are people, because everywhere there are people, there's police officers. And so I'm talking about regional Victoria as well. Now, we're responsible for the deployment, the enrollment, ongoing support, as well as servicing and decommissioning of around 600 different devices a month, which is a really good illustration of our supply chain at work. Now, we've even worked with VicPol to build out a statewide hot swapping program, supporting immediate and secure swap out of devices the moment an officer has an issue. And we've done this through a network of secure digital cabinets strategically placed in police stations and VicPol depots across the state. And as you can imagine, this is Vic Police. This is government emergency services. So we provide rigorous SLAs, or rather we meet rigorous SLAs and have a whole team of people in our Melbourne business unit supporting this account. From the flip side of the equation, I'm going to talk about Macquarie Uni, and this really represents one of the most complex device management projects we've undertaken as a business in our 30-year history. Now, we've worked really closely with Mac Uni to provide a threefold solution around modernising their MDM, asset and software management infrastructure. First thing we did here was put in best-of-breed MDM tools. Now, based on Macquarie Uni's specific set of requirements, that actually encompassed Jamf Pro for their Macs, SCCM for their Windows devices, and VMware Workspace ONE for their mobile devices, which included iOS, Android, and even a surprising amount of Windows Phone. Now, we took this to the next level and actually built a custom piece of software to allow Mac Uni to manage all of these tools through a single pane of glass solution. And it actually allows them to automate the deployment of software and policy updates across their entire user base. And lastly, we provide an ongoing managed service supporting this environment. These two case studies are a beautiful illustration of Apple at Work done right. They're available on our website, and more details will be provided following this webinar. So to wrap us up, I fully appreciate we're going to have a wide range of customers on the webinar who are invariably going to be at different stages at that Apple at Work journey. So for those of you who may be at the beginning of the process, following this webinar, a comms pack will be sent out with my contact details. I'd love to hear from you and have a conversation around how we can help bring Apple at Work to life with our professional service offerings. Likewise, for any of our existing customers who may be interested in any combination of what I've spoken about today, I will happily speak for your CompNow BDM and saying that they'd love to hear from you, so please reach out to them. So as they say, all good things must come to an end, and we are at the end. I'd like to thank you very much for your time this morning. I hope you learned something valuable, and have a lovely day.